1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Good afternoon, everyone. So happy to be back here with everybody in Samson Universe. Hopefully we have a lot of participants today out there on the Nest. We're live. Going to be going over some Skyslope forms and transactional items today. First, I'm going to review a few FAQs with you and some updates. Everybody should know that on Cardinal Nest, you have a Skyslope page on the Nest. So just click on towards the middle. That'll bring you to the Skyslope page. My name is Stephanie. If you have any questions or if you're hitting a roadblock, please do send me an email or leave me or call me. If I'm at my desk, I will answer. If I don't answer, please leave a voicemail. I will call you back. Also, you can email me if you do have any questions or roadblocks. I can send you an email back and walk you through it. Or I definitely encourage you to set up a Zoom meeting with me, share your screen, and we can walk through your transactions and your forms as you're working on them. So my information is here on the Skyslope page, on the nest, right towards the bottom of the menu here. Some updates. I have some cheat sheets for you. So there are some great cheat sheets on that have pictures and will walk you through step by step. I am finding a lot of agents are finding them to be very helpful. So I'll just kind of preview one with you really quick. If I'm not at my desk, or if it's 11 o'clock at night and you're writing an offer or you need help, there are cheat sheets here. So please utilize this page. I did spend a good chunk amount of time creating these cheat sheets for you to utilize anytime you need them. So again, there are screenshots here. And as always, if you need Skyslope support, they do have 24/7 support. Please call their 800 number, and it is option number 2. If you email them, they will get back to you, and there is also a chat feature on their site. So if you are on Skyslope and you need help, you can click the little support button. That'll take you to the support page. Also, please do me a huge favor, and if you have any suggestions for Skyslope, go to the support page and post an idea. So any issues that you might be having, do try me first. Send me an email. But if it's something that obviously I don't write code, I don't write programs, you can always send them a suggestion on their site. Okay. Also, some jurisdictional information. We do not have every jurisdiction's forms in the library yet. GCAR is coming soon, very, very soon. The agreement is signed. We're just waiting for the back-end work to upload all the forms and make them fillable for you guys. So in the meantime, if you're working in a jurisdiction and those forms are not available to you yet in Skyslope, you will have to go directly to your association site. Only paying members have access to association's forms. So if you are not a member, please sign up to be a secondary member if you already have a parent association. Again, GCAR is coming very, very soon. Okay, so today we're going to repeat some information we did last week and get into a couple more items. I'll go over some frequently asked questions that I've been getting this week. Anytime you sign into Skyslope, you will come to your main dashboard. This is where your transactions are being submitted for review by your reviewer. If you need to reach your reviewer directly on the Cardinal Nest, on the Skyslope Forms page, you can see your reviewer, who's doing my file review, and their email addresses. I know that when you are getting an email from your reviewer, it's a no reply email. So if you do need to reach out to your reviewer directly, here are their email addresses, okay? Your reviewer is attached to your office. So please know who your reviewer is and know their email in the event you have a question or a one-off situation. Okay, so today we're going to start back in forms. We're going to go over getting your listing agreement signed, getting your buyer agreement signed by your clients, and then getting them signed by a broker. Oh, really quick tip on brokers. If you're not sure who your broker is, it does differ by office and region. So your brokers and signers, there's a list here on the Nest. If you go to the broker cheat sheet, on the second page, it shows you who the signing broker is for your office. So if you are associated with the Chantilly office, that'll be Steve, Alexandria, Karen, Arlington, Wendy. So please do, it is a busy season. We're getting a lot of agreements here to Steve, but please know who your associated broker is for your office. They will be able to sign for you, and maybe faster, since Steve gets a little overwhelmed sometimes with everybody sending him the forms. Okay. So just to repeat where we were, this is your dashboard. You'll always log in and come here. This will be your home page. In order to access forms, you'll come to forms. One of the questions I've been getting this week is, I'm a member of MR and I'm a member of NVAR. Right now, guys, those are the only two associations for which we have forms in the forms library. If you are an NVAR member and you need to access MR forms and you're also an MR member or secondary member, you would go to your name, click on Associations, and add the appropriate association. So in this case, they have a bunch of nationwide associations here whose forms do feed into Skyslope. If you need MR forms, you would click MR. Your access and permission to use those forms is tied to your NERDS ID. Okay, so if you are in fact a paying member, you'll be able to access those forms. GCAR is coming soon. We have a question.
Is it on already? MR, not very expensive. I'm a secondary member. Very quick.
Yeah.
Very quick.
Just contact the association.
Yes.
If you're not a member, and if you'd like secondary membership, just contact them. It's super quick. I'm sure they just want your money, and then they'll turn it on.
Well, they are really good. They don't ask many questions, so you can contact directly. Phone call will do it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Cece. Okay. So today we will work with a tenant. This will probably be very similar to a buyer. I'm going to work with Tina. When you're starting a file, I'll just go back just so we can do this slowly. This is your home page for the forms side. There's two sides, your transaction dashboard and your forms side. Anytime you're on your home page, you'll see a greeting, good afternoon, and your name, good morning, whatever time of day you're working. We're going to create a new file. In order to start the file, you'll need to tell the forms what kind of file you're building. Today I want to work with a tenant. Her name is Tina. And for this example, I'm going to use my email address so you can see what the client receives. Okay. So for Tina, we don't have an address yet. We're just looking around at properties. So I don't need to utilize this information just yet. Remember, you always want to try and get your tenant rep or buyer rep agreements done before you select a property. There's two ways to name your file. You can name it by the primary client, or if you had an address, for example, for a listing, you could name it by the address, or you can simply type in whatever you want. Okay. In this case, I can elect to use one of Samson Properties' already built templates for me. The template is going to bring in any commonly used forms for a tenant transaction or a rental transaction. You can elect not to use the forms and pull individual forms from the library. In this case, I'm going to choose the template. It does half the work for me. Okay. So I know that initially I am going to need my tenant client to sign an exclusive right to represent tenant. And I'll go ahead and send her the Virginia Statement of Tenant Rights and Responsibilities. I've selected the two by using the little bubbles in the top left-hand corner. In order to select multiple files to fill out, you'll use that little bubble. If I don't need a particular form within the file, I can click on these three little dots and delete it. I know I'm not going to use lead-based paint for this, so I'm just going to get rid of that form. Couple things, guys. I know we're all new to this system and we're clicking around and we're trying to figure everything out. If you just click on the picture, that will bring up just the one form that you clicked on. So in order to select multiple forms to fill out at the same time and send to your clients at the same time, you'll want to utilize that little bubble in the left-hand corner. Okay. Now that I've selected the forms, I know I'm going to need my tenant to sign. I'll hit fill and send. Again, I'll show you some more tricks today. For the calendar, I know we want to select the date, but make sure the appropriate date is selected and hit OK. That's the only way to lock in the date. Okay. We know we're working with Sampson Properties. And again, this isn't a contract class, so I'm not going to fill everything out for you, but I will show you some tips and tricks. I don't like to charge my tenants termination fee, so I like to put in 0 here. Notice there's no signature or initial blocks here yet. We haven't gotten there. Type in I'll have this signed by Tina just in advance, even though it does go with the lease. Okay, so prepare signature. I want to rename my envelope. The envelope is the grouping of forms that you are sending out for signature. I want to rename my envelope because the envelope's default name will always be what you name the file. If you rename the envelope, you'll be able to know in the future what's in that envelope. I'll be no action, but I want to change that to receives a copy. I always want to mark myself as receiving a copy, and my tenant does need to sign. If you notice, I don't have the broker in here yet. In Skyslope, there are no roles for the broker. We need to add the broker manually, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. I'll go back and show you. The question was, how did we create an envelope? I'm filling out my forms. I'm sorry, you're right. I should have been more clear. Once your forms are completely filled out, you'll want to hit prepare signature down here on the bottom. Can they see that? Okay. Yeah, prepare signatures down in the right-hand side. Is there any way to get them to see that? Prepare the bottom of my screen. Yeah, there's no scrolling. I can, let me, now can you guys see prepare signature? Okay. So you'll click on Prepare Signature down here. Thanks for pointing that out. Rename your envelope so you know what's in it later. I want to make sure I receive a copy. And
So as an agent, your name will pop up automatically?
yeah, you're filling out the forms, you logged in, you're going to be there. Receives a copy. Tenant needs to sign. Notice there's no broker here yet. We're going to add in the broker manually, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. There are several steps involved. I do have a cheat sheet for this on the Skyslope page on the Next. Okay, once you click Prepare Signature, that'll bring you to the DigiSign portion. Huge warning, there is no saving your work here. You have to make sure all of your signature blocks, timestamps, and everything are correct before you hit send. There's no saving and going back. So if you were to have to go back or to exit, you'll have to input any work that you do here again and start over. Right, if you would like to save the input information on the fill and send portion, yeah, you can save and exit here, but that has nothing to do with signatures.
And that you
It
put
saves
in.
the data that you input in the blue field.
But it doesn't save anything else.
Correct. Once you hit prepare signature, you want to make sure you're good to go. Save and exit will only save content. There's no signature blocks on here, so it doesn't save. No, I'm putting in multiple forms. If you notice, I have two forms here. I have my exclusive right to represent, and I have my tenant statement. So all the forms that I want my client to sign, see and sign, I'm going to put in one envelope. Okay. So if you notice, my buyer or my tenant's initial fields do auto-populate, but the broker does not. Okay. We also just want to double check all of our forms to make sure that the signature and initial blocks are there. This is Tina. She's in this light teal color. So now I'm going to show you how to add the broker. This has been a big question last week and this week. I know we're not all comfortable with it, but I promise you it is super easy. Next to recipients, there's three little vertical dots. You need to click on those dots to edit the recipients. Once you hit edit recipient, you will add a recipient plus new recipient. Enter in your broker first name. I'm going to use a pretend broker. First name, last name, and their email. I'm also going to use my email address, guys, so we can see how everything is signed and how to direct your clients to sign once they receive something. Okay. Pause. We always want our brokers to sign after our clients. Make sure when you're adding your broker, you change their signing group to the last available signing group. I'm going to show you what happens when you don't do that. If you leave your broker in as the same signing group as your client, they both get the email at the same time. The broker's not going to know, if it's okay for them to sign, or even if your client is going to sign. So always make sure you change the broker to the last available group. Now, who signs first? My client. Who signs second? my broker. I'm going to receive a copy. Hit save. Now if we notice, Tina's color changed. She's been assigned a new color, but the broker signature still isn't there. We need to add it manually. So I'm going to work with my list of signers here. I have Steve and Tina. I'm going to work with Steve. I want to place his initial, so I will place it, click initial. You'll have a little cross. Place the initial where it belongs. Move it around. Now, I'm going to show you a trick. Anytime you have a signature or initial field and it has an active arrow pointing at it, that means it's hot, it's active. I can use any one of these actions for that active field. So for this one, I want to copy those initials. It's active, it's got this arrow. I want to copy, scroll down to the next available page to the bottom. Make sure only the bottom of that page is in view or wherever you need your initial or signature. Hit paste. Again, this block is active. I'm not clicking anywhere except paste.
And it knows where to go.
It knows where to go. So it does make it a little bit faster for you. Okay, now I need to put in Steve's signature. I'm going to click the signature action here, little squiggly line, signature. Make sure it's highlighted. Steve, signature. Okay. Make sure you resize everything so it's nice and neat and viewable. Now if you notice, it doesn't automatically tack on a date. We need to do that manually. You can use the date action to input a date. Make sure there's nothing overlapping and that everything is nice and neat and readable. If you use date, it'll just do a date stamp for when that signer signs. Time equals the date and time stamp. So I'll show you what that looks like.
You only do one, either time or date.
Yeah, some people like to do date and time. Some people like to do just the date. Both are legal. Click in the white space to lock it in.
If you do time, it shows date.
And time. If you do time, it shows the date and time stamp of when that signer signs. Okay. Now it looks like all my signature blocks and initials are where I need them. I'm just going to scroll through and double check. Okay. I'm ready to send. If you exit at this point, any of that work you did is lost. You will have to start over. So please make sure you're allocating time for yourself to sit down and do this. Anything related to putting the signature blocks in or a text field, any work that you do here in this DigiSign portion, if you exit or go back, all of that work is lost. There is no save feature here. Nothing.
Hey, if you guys are going to ask questions, can you please use the microphone so people online can hear you? I know you guys are in the room, but everybody else online cannot hear you. You're on. You just have to talk to it.
Can you repeat your question? The question was, even if we place the broker boxes for initials and signature, if we have to exit or go back, will that be lost? Yes. There is no save button here. There's no auto save, nothing. If that is a feature you guys would like, please make that suggestion to Skyslope for me. I have told them enough times, but I'm not sure why that is. It could be just because they want to make sure the work is correct before you send it. I don't know the backing behind it. I'm just telling you the workaround. Okay. So once you've double checked and reviewed your documents to make sure all of your signature and initial blocks are in place, everybody has a date, you'll go ahead and hit send.
Now, Stephanie.
Yes, Cece, you have a question?
Yes, I had a signature block you're working on. Not other things that can be done, or striking or
Yeah, you
adding
can do anything in here.
in there.
Yeah, if you wanted to add a text field, let's say we,
Oh, okay,
let's say we want to add something here,
right.
okay? If you notice, any of the text that I'm putting in is tied to a color, right? I don't want this block, this text field, to be assigned to anybody. I want it to be read only. I'm going to click, it's hot, it's got this arrow pointing towards it. That means I can use the actions. I want to make this read only. That turns it gray, okay? Once it turns gray, in order to lock anything in when it has that hot arrow pointing towards it, just click in the white to lock it in. Okay, now this is a gray field. It's just for read-only purposes.
In case you missed the preparing document, you can still add here.
Right. In case you missed something in fill and send, you can add a text field here. You can add a checkbox here. But just remember, it's not going to save. So make sure it's right before you hit send. Okay. So now I'm ready. I don't know if anybody's going to sign off on this, but we're in pretend land today. Okay. So you've prepared all of your initial blocks. All of the information is correct. This is going to send your client and Steve an email. You have documents to sign. You can change the subject if you'd like. Remember, it's going to go to your broker and to your client. So make sure it's all neutral information. You can enter in a message. And send for signature. Okay. Now, that takes me back to the file that I was working on. And I can see my envelope. Remember, I renamed that envelope rep agreement? If I hover over the envelope and turn it blue and click on it, that'll give me a preview of what's in the envelope. It's not signed yet. This just shows me a preview. If I click on these 3 vertical dots here, that'll show me view history, the status of the envelope, when it was sent, who it was sent to. I'm going to show you now what the client gets. Okay. Thank you, have a great day. There's that message I put in. You have documents to sign was the subject. This is what your client will see. Instruct them to hit the Get Started button. They will have to agree to the e-signature terms and hit Start. That will take them to their first field. The first time they click in a field, they'll need to choose a font, or they can draw. Most folks like to choose a fancy font. Use this signature, and it will take them everywhere they need to sign. Finish signing. Okay. They don't need to do anything else. They can download those documents if they want. They can hit View Documents, and it'll take them back to what they just did. But they don't need to do anything. Okay. Next, your broker will get an email because he or she is the second signer. They have to agree, they have to hit Start, and they know what to do. you go back to your envelope, it's now completed. All of my signed documents are in the completed envelope. If I wanted to download these documents, I could hit download, but it will zip them and separate them. I don't want them separated. I want them in one PDF. Because I set myself up to receive a copy, once everybody has signed, I can view completed documents from the email that I get because I'm receiving the copy as the agent. If I hit view completed documents here, I can download and it'll be one PDF. This is the same for your buyer contracts, your listing agreements, everything. If you set yourself up to receive a copy, the copies that you receive in your email, you can download as one PDF. Yes, there's a question.
When I creating a sample listing agreement, Maryland, and I try to, before I complete filling up, and I try to send broker to see whether I have all the forms intact, in it. I don't want to miss anything.
You're sending your broker a preview?
Preview. And I download, partly finished.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where it went. I don't see any download in my folder. I don't see any.
Anytime you download, and again, for Mac users, I'm not sure, but for PC users, anytime you're downloading anything, it goes to your download folder.
So I don't see my Mac download or even document. So I called I couldn't find anywhere. I called
Anytime you hit download on anything, it goes to your download folder.
It wasn't, so that
I can't answer that
I know,
for
but
you.
I called the help.
Mm-hmm.
They download for me. They don't know why. They sent to me, just download and send me.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it.
Okay. Here's another trick. If you're in your envelope, I'm going to show you really quick. Here's my envelope. Click on it, turn it blue. If I hit print, I do also have the option to save as PDF. If I hit save, it'll save and download as one PDF. Everybody wants one PDF, is what I've heard last 3 weeks. This is how you do it. Okay? So I can save as PDF. I have a special folder here that I save to. And just to show you, this is now one PDF. All of her docs that I've sent together, it's all one PDF. Okay. So we went over how to start a file, add your client, get broker signature. You're going out with Tina, you're looking at properties, you've sent her the rent spree application link from MLS. The listing agent sends you the lease for your client to sign electronically. Now what? You're working with Tina. That listing agent has emailed you the lease. You will upload it into your file that you're working on with Tina. I don't know if I have a lease here, so we'll just pretend this is a lease.
Stephanie,
Yep. Do we have a question?
this is still in the form section.
This is still, we're still working in forms.
So you're uploading the
Mm-hmm.
stuff you get from the
From the
agent.
listing agent. Mm-hmm. I'm uploading, they sent me a 1 PDF of the lease documents. I'm uploading it into my file for my client, and I need my client to sign it. Same deal. Fill and send, or click on the document, prepare signature, you receive a copy, your client signs. Okay. You would add, this is an old file, so you would add your signatures for your client. I apologize for the bad example. I will have a blank lease for you next time. Now let's say you had your ratified, you sent your client the lease, it's already signed by the landlord because that's what the listing agent sent to you. Your tenant has now signed the lease. You have a ratified lease in your completed envelope. This is where you're going to manage your transaction. For buyers and tenants, you're going to manage transaction, create the transaction. You have two options here. I want you to pause. Two options: address lookup or Skyslope forms. Here's where I'm going to pull in all the forms I was working on in that file on the form side. If I select this file for Tina Tenant, anything in her completed documents is going to pull over. I do have to enter in some information here. You may not have to do this part for your name. Only fill out the red asterisks. If you have any of the additional information, you can certainly do that. But to save time, just make sure you fill out just the red asterisks. Choose your checklist. Tenant rep. Tina was a personal referral. Their lease was ratified today. She's moving in July 4th. Oh, let me put in the zip code. All right. Hit next. I'm going to show you. Oh, you have to put in some pertinent information. I'm going to show you where those documents go. No. You shouldn't get that message. I've been using 123 Main Street and Main Avenue for all my transactions, so that's why it's asking me that. All right, we do have to put in information from our contract, our lease, our contract, anything. Larry's the landlord. Your goal in this page is to get green check marks. You can hit next. Must complete the save for. Oh, you have to hit save to save the contact. Save the information. I got a green check mark. Hit next. Tina Tenant's information already came over, but I do need to put in her phone number. Hit save. I got a green check mark. I can click on the next one. Title and escrow we don't have for rentals, so we're going to put NA. Got a green check mark. I have to put in the other agent's information. I have to put in her phone number and her email. Save. Oh, I need to put in her company. I've got all the green check marks where they were red previously. Now I have to hit submit. That brings me to the commission. How much commission am I getting? It already knows that I'm representing the tenant, so it's only going to give me a red asterisk for what I need to enter. Hit submit. Oh, earnest money. I'm going to say no. I gave that to the listing agent's brokerage. Here's my checklist. Now, because when I created this transaction, I selected my Skyslope forms versus the address, anything in my completed documents has already come over. I didn't have to download, upload, none of that. It's already here because I completed those tasks in the form side. So I know I have the exclusive right to represent tenant. I know that's needed on my checklist, tenant agency agreement. I can assign it a couple of ways. I can hit attach from the checklist, and that takes me right to the documents that fed over. Or I can attach it to the checklist directly from the documents. There's two ways. There's multiple avenues to get these checklist items accomplished. Click on the document that I want to assign to my checklist, hit assign. I'll have a drop down, and I can select the option from my checklist for which I want it to assign to. Hit assign. Go back to my checklist. Now it's pending. Your colors will look different. I'm in a pretend transaction world. Okay. Now, completed documents only come, your forms only come over once they're in the completed documents stage. And they're only completed once they have a signature on them. Nobody signs our commission form. There's nowhere for us to sign. The client, of course, doesn't sign it. A broker doesn't sign it. So how do you get it over here without having to download and upload? I'm going to show you a trick. We're working with Tina. She signed the lease. Everybody's ready to go for 4th of July. I need to fill out my tenant representation commission form. They're moving in the 4th of July. Pick the day. Always pick OK on the calendar. I know it's tedious, but I'm just in the fill and send portion. I'm not going to pick any of those. Monthly rent was the neat thing about the new commission form is that it adds in everything for you. I think I was right. I'm not good at math. I'm just going to say $1.50 for B-Pole. And it already does all the calculations for me. Okay. Prepare signature for this. I don't want my client to sign this. I don't want my client to see what kind of money I'm getting. But I want to sign it. Rename my envelope so I know what's in it. Hit next. This isn't required that you sign your commission forms. I'm just showing you how to manipulate the system to get it over to your checklist. I'll just put my initial somewhere, lock it in, hit send. Don't need to send myself any special messages or anything. Just trying to get my work done. Trying to get my checklist items in. I have to agree. I have to hit start. I have to pick my fancy font. And I'm done.
I have a question.
One moment and I will get to your question.
Okay.
My envelope with my commission form is completed. I'm going to go back to my transaction. That was Main Avenue. It's in my documents. I can now assign it to my checklist. No uploading, no downloading. Both sides talk to each other. The only way you can get both sides to talk to each other is when you're creating any transaction or creating a listing, is when you're choosing forms, not address lookup. That's the only way to get them to talk to each other. And you have to start with forms first. If you start by creating a transaction without the forms first, it doesn't talk backwards. It only talks forms forwards. What is your question, Cece?
My question is, at this point, you manipulate a little bit about the commission disbursement.
Mm-hmm.
Can commission disbursement be added into, you go back to form to add into? Can't do that?
I mean, this is what you can do. There's multiple avenues to manipulate this system, guys. It's very manipulable, if that's a word.
Yeah, I never thought about it. I have to go around a signature like, but maybe every time.
So if you wanted to, the alternative is to select your form and download it to your computer. Right? I downloaded it. I could go back to my transaction. This is just the harder way. There's more steps this way. If you want to make things nice and easy and make the two sides talk to each other, I'll show you the tips and tricks. So I downloaded that commission form from my forms file.
You have to download, you can't just add it? No?
They don't talk backwards.
Ooh.
They only talk forwards. Forms forward. That's the only way they talk. If I wanted to, I could attach it here from my and upload it from my downloaded documents. But that seems a little more clicking.
Okay.
You can.
I have a question, Stephanie.
Yeah, go ahead.
The last envelope you created for the commission disbursement,
Mm-hmm.
you had just one form in it.
Yep.
What if you had to add multiple forms? How do you add multiple forms to the same envelope?
Just click on, it depends on what tasks you're going to do with the forms. So now that we kind of did that, I can do a listing agreement for you guys. Would that be helpful? We have a good 30 minutes, so I can start a listing agreement for you. That will have more forms. All right, I'm going to work with a seller. We're going to work with Sandy and her husband, Sal.
So you can use one address, email address.
Yes, you can use the same email address for multiple clients. I don't know how some people feel about that. It makes me a little weary, but you can do it. I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that.
Yeah, email address.
Correct. If you have a dominant owner, you can make that dominant owner receive all the documents.
Oh, I think it's the things you can keep your other spouse just alone without knowing.
Maybe that happens in your pretend world, Cece. I'll let you deal with that. So in this case, I am working with a seller. Obviously, the data isn't in the MLS yet, so I can't import MLS data, but I can type in an address. Let's do. Apparently 5050 Spruce Street is an actual house in Fairfax. Interesting. I just made that up, but okay. All right. I can name the envelope, or I'm sorry, the file, whatever I would like. If I did want to just name it the address, I could do that. If I wanted to name it the primary client, I could do that. In this case, I'd like to name it whatever I like to name it. Okay. Samson has built us some excellent templates. Again, we have templates for NVAR forms, and we have templates for Maryland. I'm an NVAR agent. I'm going to use the template for residential listings that Samson has built for us. Create the listing. Now, when we're a listing agent, we do have several documents up front that we need our client to sign. I know that I need my seller client to sign the brokerage service agreement, the DPOR form, the exclusive right to sell, affiliated business, and wire fraud. I know all of these forms I absolutely need, and they're absolutely going to be required because that's been pounded into our Samson brains forever. So make sure you select the little bubble on the left-hand side to select multiple forms. Fill and send. Now, if you were, for example, you wanted blank forms to take to a listing appointment, you could, hopefully you have the address at that point. You're going there. And hopefully you've looked up the seller name because you looked at the tax records. You could bring these blank or partially filled out agreements and paperwork by downloading them and printing them. Okay? But I know that Sandy and Sal are going to sign online. We've been talking. Anytime you get an update, the version is out of date, just go ahead and hit the update. It'll refresh. Okay, so let's say I don't like the order of which these forms are auto-populated. If I click on the 4 horizontal lines here, I can reorder how the forms appear. So I want my DPOR form right after my exclusive right to sell. Just click on the 4 lines and move them around. Put them in the order that you'd like your client to see them. Go ahead and fill out some of the information. Oh, here, I'm going to show you. Now, there is no copy and paste in here. I'm an agent, so I like to copy and paste the tax ID. I don't like to have to write it down and then, so if you give me one moment, I'm going to show you how to copy and paste because that was a topic that came up today. I had an agent that said, I can't copy and paste. How do I copy and paste into my contract? How do I copy and paste into my listing agreement? I'm going to show you guys how to do that. But basically, for those of you out there that are aware, you're just going to use the keyboard shortcut in order to copy and paste. Since we know that 50/50 spruce is let's see if it's in here. Oh, it didn't pull up. I'm just going to pull in the address that I do know so I can demonstrate for you. There we go. Okay. So I like to copy and paste my tax ID. Sometimes there can be a lot of numbers in here, and I like to copy and paste it into my agreements and my contracts. So I can utilize my mouse to copy and paste, or my finger pad to copy and paste, copy. But if you notice, I'm clicking here. There's no paste. This drove me insane for maybe 2 minutes. But if I use the keyboard Control-Shift-V for paste, it puts it in there. So thank God we can copy and paste. Just wanted to show you that trick today. Again, there's no signature blocks or anything that's imported yet. We're not doing that. We're simply filling in the information. Okay, I've got everything filled out. I do want to make sure, if I want to bounce from document to document, I can just click on the name of the document and that'll bounce me right there. Legal description. Again, I like to copy and paste the legal description. They can get a little crazy, so let's make sure we copy and paste. Copy. Well, they should never leave it blank. Okay. Let me just check. Anything that's blue, I need to fill in. Oh, gotta put, who are we working with today? Sandy Seller and Sal. Oh, I have to sign this too. Put my name in. All right, everything's filled out. Prepare signature. Got Sal, got Sandy. This is going to be listing agreement and required forms. Remember, rename your envelopes so you know what's in them later. Everybody needs to sign. Hit next.
So would that go to everybody at the same time?
Yes, but we need our broker to sign, right? So I'm going to show you how to add in the broker signature.
No, but I mean, you just have 3 people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The broker is never automatically input. We always have, at this age of Skyslope's development, there's no broker role. We always need to add the broker last and have to do it manually. I know it's tedious, but if we want to get our work done, this is just what we have to do. So I've got Sandy and Sal here. Okay. Again, I want to add my broker signature, 3 little vertical dots, edit recipient, new recipient. You got to add him every time. It won't know who he is. It won't save his contact information. Okay. Make sure he's the last available group. Hit save. If maybe I wanted to sign after my client, I can change my group. If I change myself to 2, and then I can change my broker to 3. Now who signs first? Mr. and Mrs. Seller. I sign next. Steve signs third. Do you have a question?
Yes. Okay. After your seller sign, it goes to you or go to all 3 of you at the same time?
I'm determining the order of who gets what right here.
Okay. So let's say that your seller signed first. You will receive the envelope. It say the document.
I'll only receive a completed envelope notification once everyone has signed.
So how do you know that they already signed? So
You
that
can check the status of the envelope. The envelope is there once it's sent.
So you have to go into the data and check the envelope.
You can go to the envelope and look at it and see. It'll say it's partially done. You won't get that green bar all the way through until everyone has signed, but you can still check the status midway through completion.
Okay. What about like listing agreement?
Well, that's what we're doing.
After the seller sign, you as an agent receive it as a copy. Will you get the email notice you that they are completed?
Once it's completed and they've signed, that's the only time you'll get a received copy, is when they've
and then
signed
you
it.
have to upload for your broker to sign.
You could, but this is the way to prevent any downloading and uploading. It's just by changing the group and adding the broker now.
I see.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I've added the broker. He's going to sign last. I'm going to hit save. Okay, I still need to add my broker manually. Here's everyone. We all have a little color. I want Steve to sign my brokerage agreement. I get a little cross, place his signature, sorry, his initial. This is a listing agreement. It's, yep, anytime you add your broker signature or initial, it's all the same. Again, this is that hot button. It's hot. I'm going to hit copy, scroll down. Make sure the bottom of only the bottom of one page is in view. Hit paste. It's hot. Paste.
So before you send this, if you made a mistake, you can correct it in this particular.
If I need to add something, or if I missed a checkbox,
Right.
I can add a checkbox here. Broker
You don't have to return back to. So
shall
which is
install. I want this to be read only, and I want it to be checked. Click to lock it in.
that's a good thing.
But if I have to exit here or go back, none of the work in here is saved. None of it. Give yourself time to make sure you have the time to do everything in a quiet room, in a padded cell. Just give yourself time. Give yourself time and quiet and peace to get it done.
Actually,
You lock your door. That's right.
Actually, I made a sequentially what I wanted it to be signed. You know, I made it in this juncture, and I went out. They don't save anything. I discovered that
Right.
hard way.
We do have a good 21 minutes. I want to show you what I'm going to do next, especially for listing agents.
If you're working on something and you have to stop to do something else,
Just leave your computer screen open. If you have to stop here and you need to walk, just leave it here. Just leave it open, close the door, put a central lock on it, don't let anybody in. I would suggest you give them a suggestion if you would like a save button or a save feature
they
here.
have to save button somewhere.
There is no save button here. I realize it's tedious, but it is what it is. And you know, my role here, guys, is just to show you how to manipulate the system and get your documents to upload into your checklist and get you paid on time. It does autofill my sellers, so they're both here. They have their colors assigned to them. Okay. Oh, I do need to add in Sandy and Sal here. Just check your forms. You know, please review everything. Make sure everything's good to go, because this is your one shot. Oh, that needs to be for Sandy. Click in the white to lock it in. Signature for Sal. Here he is. I want to do a time. Remember, time is date and time. Click in the white to lock it in. Okay, they're both there. They're both there. Oh, got to add their signatures here. Signature for Sal. Date and time for Sal. Click in the white to lock it in. You guys are going to be experts on this. I've had the same amount of time in Skyslope as you guys. I'm an agent here with Samson too. I got this the same time everybody else did. It really does just take practice, and you will become an expert, you know, just like I am. And that's my goal, is to make sure you guys can manipulate this system to get your checklist done and get paid faster. loop had its quirks too. Okay, so because I created an envelope, it's here. The envelope is here. It's only partially done, sent 1 minute ago. If I need to cancel signing, if I know I made a mistake, I can cancel signing here. If I need to resend it, I can resend it here. If I want to view the history, this is what time everything was done. So if you guys give me 2 minutes, I will go through and sign everything so that I can show you what to do with your, no, with your completed envelope. And of course, your clients will never read anything. They'll click through. But encourage them to please review. It depends on who they are. If they want to read through, I mean, that's fantastic. But we have clients that just trust us as their fiduciary agent. It's no longer fiduciary?
Right. Statutory.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you for that update. Let me see, do I have more in here? It's a little slow today. Let me see where I'm at with my envelope. See, 1 of 4. Let's see the history on it. View history. Who's, all right, Sandy signed. Cool. I hope I didn't make a typo in my email address. I might have. Let's go back and check. Oh, I did make a typo here. Well,
How do you fix that?
that's a good question. This is how you fix it.
You can go fix it, huh?
You can fix the email address of the recipient.
Oh.
You go into resend envelope?
Yes.
Okay.
I might have overwhelmed this system. This is all done. Start. Oh, no. I think I overwhelmed it. Let's see, signing action. Download Singlepedia. Of course, I would have a glitch today. No. Do we have internet? No internet.
What?
Listen, don't look at me about that.
Are we still streaming?
Yeah, we're still streaming. The internet in this building is just not good.
That's why I'm not getting my emails. Let's try again.
You're on SP Chantilly, correct?
I'm on SP Chantilly. Now I'm connected.
I'm just asking because sometimes my computer randomly tries to connect to other things in the building.
When I come in, I even have a Chantilly they open, disappear.
Let's send Sal a reminder. See if he gets it. Well, I wanted to have a completed envelope for you guys. Well, I guess we won't have a completed envelope for this today, unfortunately. Next week. But I do want to show you the listing. Once you have a ratified listing agreement, you'll want to enter it into the Skyslope Transactions dashboard. You will create listing by going to Manage Listings, create the listing. Your assistant Sky is going to pop up. Pause. This is where you tie in your forms. 5050 Spruce Street. Tie it in. You will have to answer questions. You will have to pick your corresponding checklist. If you take anything away from today, just always start any life of any deal in forms. And anytime you're entering in your transaction, whether it be a buyer, a tenant, a landlord, or a listing, tie it into your forms. Address lookup would really be if you had all of your forms from an outside source. So for our agents whose forms aren't in there, GCAR right now, but we're coming very soon. Some of the smaller jurisdictions, that's when you would utilize the address lookup. But if your forms are there, NVAR, MR, if your forms are there, start the life of your deal in forms, tie in your actual checklist review portion to forms, not address lookup. Yes, Cece, you have a question?
Last Maryland meeting, what is that? Sarah said we have...
GCAR forms are coming very soon. We have the agreement. They're just not uploaded in yet.
Okay.
They're doing all the work behind the scenes right now.
Okay, I thought it was on already. Okay.
It's not, the button has not been turned on, but the agreement is signed.
Okay, all right.
Answer all of your questions. You have to put phone numbers in. Review all of your information. Now, there's two sides to the listing. One, I have the listing agreement signed. You're going to tie in all of those forms that you had signed by your seller. Your exclusive right to sell, your DPOR, your affiliated business, and your wire fraud. You'll want to put in the tax record, and once you enter it into Bright, you'll want to tack in your MLS listing. Once you get a contract, you will hit accept contract. I get to show you what that looks like. Don't enter in a whole new transaction. You'll want to create the listing's life as two phases. Phase 1, I got the listing agreement. Phase 2, we're under contract. Checklist type. This is super important. Residential listing sale under contract. Once you're under contract, that's what you're going to choose. Closing date 4th of July. Perfect. Hit next. Sale price. Very buyer bought the property. Hit save. Got a green check mark. Title escrow. Cardinal Title Group. Got a green check mark. Angel@agent.com. You have to put this information in. Just put it in to get to the next phase. Have everything? Perfect. Hit submit. Commission. I had put that in the beginning. Who's holding the earnest money? No. The buyer's escrow agent is holding the EMD. Hit submit. Now, you get a whole new checklist. Here's where I put the ratified contract. Here's where I put the affiliated business signed by both parties if they have elected to sign it. Here's where I put in the DPOR signed by both parties. Here's where I'm going to upload my ALTA once it closes. There are 2 phases. The listing phase, I got the listing agreement. The contract phase. 2 phases to your listings. So I'll leave the last 7 minutes for any Q&As. Anybody have any questions? Anything you need me to review? You're welcome. It's a lot of information, but I promise you, if I can complete any deal from start to finish, so can you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Practice makes perfect. Remember, you guys, you can always do dummy scenarios in the form side. Send yourself listing agreements. Send yourself, tenant rep agreements. You can create, this is your freedom zone in the form side.
I think I have to do that.
You do have to do that. That will make you better, I promise.
When we don't do every day, you just have to.
Correct. And you have the ability to do that on the form side.
Right.
Thank you, Stephanie.
And you're welcome. Thanks for coming, you guys.
If you have contract every day, then listing every day, then you can practice every day. But
If
I
you
mean-
have a contract every day, you can have a TC do all this for you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.